Hi everybody, it's Jennifer McCollum with the Parent Coach Club. And I have Wanda Robichaud joining me today. Wanda is Wanda Zen Mama. And she focuses heavily on tantrums. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Hello, Wanda.
Hi, Jennifer.
Thanks for
having me.
My fellow Canadian. We are managing through the cold of winter. And I'm surprised we're both not all bundled up. I usually am. In my office, it's so cold. I usually have like all these blankets wrapped around me. And you can't tell, but it's all snow out there. And I'm sure it is outside your window too.
Yes.
So, Wanda, you're here today as a parent coach. And you focus on helping moms of spirited children that are under 6 years old. I love how defined that is. You help moms of spirited children that are under 6 years old, and you help them discover their inner Zen master. So I want to hear more about that. I want to hear about how you got to be the Zen master for mamas of spirited children under 6. And then we're going to dive into what you want to share with us today about tantrums.
Okay, thanks, Jennifer. Thanks for having me here. And getting in touch with your inner Zen master basically just means being the calm and confident parent that we all want to be. It started, I used to work with children. I started off getting an education degree, and then I gravitated towards working with kids that had special needs, specifically kids with autism, and a lot of kids that had some severe behaviors and tantrums. And I found it really, really rewarding. I loved it. And it's funny because it was really easy to roll with this behavior when I was working, when it was my job. But then once I had my own kids, it became a lot more triggering when my own kids were having meltdowns and tantrums.
Gosh, isn't that the truth? Like, we need, even as a professional out there, knowing all the tools and the strategies. It kind of starts again when you have your own kids, right? Because they like push these buttons we didn't know we had.
Yeah, exactly. I thought I had it all together for sure. I thought I was going to nail this parenting stuff. And then my firstborn child ended up being a fairly spirited little guy. He was quite strong-willed. And especially once we had his little brother, it got challenging. And I had to figure out a way how to manage his big emotions. And I discovered positive parenting and conscious parenting, and I really wanted to parent in a different way than I was used to seeing.
That's really interesting. I love that because you had to kind of discover it yourself. And I think you become the best teacher when you've had to live through that too. And now you are the expert to help moms of children with spirited children under the age of 6. And you do a lot of work with children that have tantrums, or maybe there's issues between siblings, or anger or aggression. So today I want to talk to you specifically about tantrums, though, because this is huge. Like, what do we do when our kids have tantrums? So can you walk us through today? I know you have some steps that we could take to, I don't know, calm the tantrums, find our inner Zen. Tell us how to do that.
Okay, so I like to break the tantrum down into 3 steps that we can look at. So there's the pre-tantrum phase, there's during the tantrum, and then sort of assessing after the tantrum. So yeah, it's definitely about remembering that tantrums are a normal part of development for young children. And the more we can be accepting about them, I think it might even help decrease the tantrums, because they will know they're a strong support for them and you're able to handle it. So during the pre-tantrum phase, I suggest, when you notice the child is starting to get agitated and you see it coming, to take a deep breath and maybe tell yourself your mantra, remembering that tantrums are normal. And then also you can describe what you see. So you can start to say, like, I'm noticing that your fists are all balled up, and maybe naming their emotions. Say, it seems like you might be frustrated. Are you frustrated? And naming the emotions can sometimes really help them feel heard, and it really can calm the situation before it even starts to get going.
That's a great suggestion, just to name it, um, and the importance of making sure our kids feel heard, no matter what the age of their child, right? They want to feel heard. So the younger they are, the more you're getting down on their level and making sure that they know you are listening to them and you're there. And so that then oftentimes could stop a tantrum from happening. Is that correct?
I think it could definitely help. Yes, possibly. And there might be a few other things we can do to shift it before it becomes a tantrum. So children, they're kind of like us in that, like, if we've been at work all day and we've been holding it in all day, and maybe they've been at daycare all day or at school, and then they come home and they might have a lot of energy, sort of agitated energy that they need to get out. Maybe they're hungry, maybe they're tired, maybe they had a different teacher that day and that affected them somehow, but we might not know any of this. We have to sort of roll with it and be like, okay, this is just where we're at. And there's a couple things we can do with that energy that they have. So we can either get it out by being silly with them, and we can start maybe having like a roughhousing or like a chasing game, something where we get them really giggling and a lot of laughter coming out. I got this tip from Dr. Laura Markham. She's a parenting expert. And yeah, we can just move that energy through by getting physical and getting some giggles happening.
That's so great. And that can be really valuable at any age, right? And I just want to go back to the comment that we don't know what happened in their day. Like if they're off at daycare or at school or wherever they are, my kids are older. So some are back to school right now. And we don't know what's gone on with them, but being home is kind of a release for them. So if there's going to be any emotions, good or bad, they're going to come out when they come home. And just identifying that and realizing, hey, this is what life is like. This is what happens. I think is a good reminder for parents. So I'm glad you said that.
Yeah, that's so true. Home is their safe space.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, where we can all let it out. Okay, so tell me about, so that's the pre-tantrum. Then, okay, let's say that didn't work. They didn't feel heard. They just got to let it out, and it comes out in an outburst of anger and tantruming. So now we're in the tantrum. Tell us about that stage.
Sure. And just a note, sort of the transition into the tantrum phase, we can sometimes actually help them get that energy out. Not through being silly, but we can actually set a limit with them if they're in that mode where they're just like trying to do everything. Like, just, it's almost like they want to let it out and they're asking for you to set a limit. So if they, like, I don't know, they're climbing on some furniture or something, you can just let them know that that's not something we do. And even just setting that limit might start to get the tantrum out. And so once the tantrum comes out, we want to not use very many words because they're in their lizard brain at that point, their amygdala. And we might want to get in close. And if we think it might help, we can give them a hug, but just support them in their big emotions and let them know that we're there for them and we're accepting them. There's another parenting expert named Avital, and she talks about how tantrums are like poop, and it's natural, and the best thing to do is just let it happen and let it come out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that release for them. That's a great bit of advice there. And they're unavoidable, really. Like if you are a parent, tantrums are unavoidable, aren't they? So give yourself a bit of grace too when these happen. I remember so many times when my kids were young, for some reason they'd always happen in the middle of a grocery store. So, you know, and I remember at the time Barbara Colarosa saying, "Get down and roll on the floor with them," and like, oh, I just wanted it to end. It's so I don't know, at the time, like embarrassing and frustrating, and just didn't know what to do. So I'm glad you really focus on helping parents through these tantrums and knowing what to do, knowing they're normal too. I think that's one thing I forgot was, hey, this is normal. And every parent that's looking at me right now was probably going, I've been there, I've got you. Like, don't worry.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about like post tantrum then. So after the tantrum, let's talk about that.
Okay, so once the tantrum has happened, once everyone's calm, you're calm, the child is calm, we can have a conversation with them. Sometimes it helps for a child to process things, for us to sort of just speak back to them what happened. And then check in with ourselves to see how we were feeling during the tantrum. Was something triggered for us? Were we having some resistance? And maybe we can ask ourselves where that was coming from. Maybe there's some beliefs that we have from our past that it might be helpful to look at and figure out why we're having resistance there. And then the last thing we can do is that we can look at what led up to the tantrum. Maybe there was something in our schedule that we could tweak that might help avoid them. So if we're picking our child up from daycare, maybe they need a snack when they get picked up from daycare, and that's something we can add into our schedule that will help decrease them in the future. Or maybe like they need to go for a little run around before they get in the car or something like that.
Yeah, oh, I remember those times now. It's all coming back to me. It was either always they were hungry or tired. And then add a tired mom to that, not a good situation. So I am so glad you focus on this. So, okay, so we've got the 3 stages, what we can do before a tantrum, what is going on during a tantrum and what to do, and then what to really notice and take note of after the tantrum so we can figure out how to reduce them. I don't want to say eliminate because I don't think we can fully eliminate a tantrum, but reduce.
Yeah, I think I focus more on managing, and then a side benefit can be reducing them for sure.
That is so awesome. So I know in your practice, Wanda, you have packages that you offer parents. They can work with you and they can work through tantrums, but a number of other things as well. So can you tell us about your packages briefly? And then I'm going to make sure that we put a link to your website below this video.
Okay, great. I've got my 8-week package, and that is the Common Connected package, and it's for one-on-one coaching. And there's 3 things that I feel you need to be a calm and confident parent. And the first is having the self-confidence. The second is not reacting when your child's having big emotions and staying calm and not reacting. And the third is teaching our children communication and problem solving skills. So,
So great. And
yeah,
what's
that's
the
what I
other
teach.
one? You have 2 packages, right?
Yes, I also have a sibling struggles package.
Okay.
And we can work a lot with the same sort of things with communication, teaching problem solving and communication, and staying calm with our children and not
That's so great.
reacting.
I'm sure you have a great process too with the degree in education. You are a teacher, and so I'm sure that you work through these really systematically and help parents through. So again, I'm going to leave the link below this video so parents can find your website. You have a free Facebook group. And then the one thing I didn't mention before was if you want to work with Wanda, then you have a 30-minute free intro call, discovery call where they can just chat with you about what's going on in their life.
Yes, absolutely.
So I'll make sure to leave that link as well, because I think those really, if you have a spirited child under 6, reach out to Wanda, because this 30-minute call could be invaluable. And then just finding out more about your packages too, and how you can create more calm and connectedness in a family is fabulous, and bring back that inner zen.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything you want to leave us with? Like, what I like to do is, for parents that just want a quick snapshot. Okay, you gave us a lot of information about what to do before a tantrum, what to do during, and what to do after. Is there one thing, if we forget everything else, is there one thing you want us to walk away with today and remember?
Yeah, I think that when it comes to tantrums, it's most important to remember that they're natural, and the quicker we can be a support for those big emotions, the quicker they can move through them and come to see us as on their team and somebody that they can come to in the future when they're having a hard time, and maybe even before they get to the tantrum meltdown phase.
I love that. Be the place they can trust. That is wonderful. Thank you so much for being here today, Wanda. I really, really enjoyed talking with you. I wish I had have talked to you 22 years ago when my first was born. But you know what? All of these things still apply at any age. So thank you very much for this information. I know there's going to be a lot of parents that are going to love the words that you're saying. It's going to reassure them and also give them next steps, that if they want to dive deeper into this and really get a handle on this in their family, to come work with you.
Thank you so much, Jennifer.
You're welcome. We'll see you again.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.